about. Trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist. Am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
That was great sounds of Watts with Outside on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Preston, with my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, Mr. Easy Blues. Easy Blues, you are better with introductions more than me. Who do we have with us on the broadcast today?
Ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you music is healing, when I tell you music is life, when I tell you music is the point of view of every person, and we are to take what is going on in the world, broadcast it through the prism of our heart, and give it to yourselves, I would like you to truly understand how wonderful it is. Whether you are among acres or just a little ugly, I want you to truly understand how beautiful music can be. And when you truly are there in the heartbeat of music, to do the pulse and to be in the beat, it is an amazing thing. So I want you to put your hands together, not if you're driving. If you're driving, please keep your hands at 10 and 2. But mentally, put your hands together for the fantastic, the amazing, the phantasmagorical Michael Sanford Day is in the building today. Welcome, Benvenue. How are you?
Wow, that was by far the best introduction that I've ever had. That was
awesome.
Fantastic.
That's great. Feel free to play it back as many times as you want.
I'm just going to ask if you can come out to all my shows and do that.
Hey,
wow.
That's an opportunity right there.
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me. How you guys doing?
Excellent.
Doing good. Welcome.
Excellent, man.
Now, you are a musician in the New England culture of life, and you've been a musician in New England for a while. What has that journey been like for you?
I'm very lucky. I dropped out of college at 18 to pursue music. I was going to music school and realized that my time would have been was better spent with the people that I met there, kind of just in our basements writing, as opposed to I was trying to become a classical guitarist, but I wasn't really passionate about it. And New England really kind of embraced me early on. I've spent the last 22 years being able to perform live throughout the region in various projects, and the people here have allowed me to, you mentioned a couple of my bands. Little Ugly I was in for quite some time. That group ended. I started Among the Acres, and it kind of felt like I was able to pick up where I left off as far as like people still coming out to the shows and listening to the music. So I've always felt very, very lucky to be a part of the New England scene.
Now, you are such a part of the New England scene that we have this incredible event coming up in June where you were part of the Heartbeat Festival. What was it like for that selection process? And is this your first year being part of the festival?
I'm, again, very lucky. This, I believe, is maybe my fourth Heartbeat. I think Among the Acres played twice. Maybe we only played... No, we played twice. We definitely played twice. And then... after the pandemic, my co-songwriter and I from Among the Acres, he had moved to DC. So I started writing tunes on my own, and my two other bandmates from Among the Acres and I played Heartbeat as a trio. And that was actually technically the first performance of my new project, Michael Sanford Day and the Hard Feelings, which is the first project where I've actually stepped on stage under my own name. Right. And that's the project that's going to be playing this year's. So yeah, I saw Earl from Possum posted that they were looking for bands, and I jumped at the chance because this project, again, it's new to me, but it's another one where I'm lucky enough where like we are getting opportunities because of how long I've been a part of the scene and everything.
And what was that journey like to step out from just being a band with a band name to now being the forefront of the band name itself, stepping up there and saying, "This is me, and these people are backing me up"? What is that journey like as a musician?
It's terrifying. I've always loved being in a band because, like I'm a guitar teacher as well, and I tell all my students, it's not about the mistake. It's about what you do next. I mess up every single song that I play, but I have so much fun with those mistakes because I can turn around and see my bandmates and we're all just smiling and laughing. And 90% of the time, the audience doesn't even notice that you made the mistake. But to go up there as Michael Sanford Day, the first time I decided to do that. The reason behind it was because I felt like now, as a father of two, a husband, I'm 40 now. It was the music I was writing was the most real I'd ever been with an audience. I wasn't telling stories. I was just writing about my family and what it's like to just be Michael Sanford Day. So that was the scariest part, because I knew the lyrics I was singing was going to give people more insight into who I am as a person than my older projects probably did. But it's been therapeutic. Like every time I take the stage and sing one of my songs, I actually am like, wow, this is it. Like, this is Michael Sanford Day. This feels great.
That's awesome.
And no, it is an awesome feeling, and I say it all the time, especially like at SP shows. You know, thank you for coming to my therapy session. You all are captured into this therapy session that's going to happen now, and I hope you guys are going to be okay at the end of it, because I probably won't be.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. You know, it's a great set when you're a blubbering mess right afterwards. You know?
Exactly.
It's great, absolutely fantastic. In the songwriting process and all that aspect, what is it like to go from the telling of the other stories to now being more interpersonal and bearing more of your soul, or as they say, venting your spleen?
That's a great question. I feel like each project was almost at a different decade of my life. Little Ugly was in my 20s. Acres was my 30s. This one's in my 40s. I almost can't remember what it was like to write for Little Ugly, because I think at that point in my career, I was so young, I didn't know myself as a songwriter, that I was almost trying to be something. Like Mumford & Sons was really big at the time, Lumineers, that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, like I guess that's what I'm supposed to do, because I like to play acoustic guitar. And then in my 30s, with Among the Acres, it was more trying to write songs that fit that group, because we had two songwriters. So a lot of stuff that I wrote didn't really make the project. It was just stuff that I was just like, oh, well, I wrote that song, but it's not good enough for this, so I'm just going to push it to the side. Right now, I find that I think I give myself more grace. There's less stuff that I throw out. It's just like, you know what, finish the song. Because the times that I get to write are so few and far between, because I have a 2-year-old and a 3.5-year-old who don't want me to play guitar.
No, unless it's for them. Unless it's for them, and it's the song they want. Right. Like, dad, dad, can you play, Pink Pony Club?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, I also have some amazing bandmates. In particular, I work with an artist called Riley Cotton. I play in her band as well. Her project is Riley Cotton and the Tin Men, and then she plays in mine. And she's a really good co-songwriter. Like, if there's ever something that I am completely stumped on, especially like lyrically, where I've just hit a wall, she'll just send me like one text with one line altered, and I'm like, oh, there it is. And then I can just keep going off. So I'm still using my bandmates and stuff to help me with that kind of stuff, for sure.
Yeah, that's one of the key things, and it's something that I love about being a musician with a group of other musicians, where you can bounce things off of each other, where that one piece, like, I love live songwriting, where you're just trying to tune into the radio and see what goes on, and then you look at the bass player and be like, that was really dope, but could you go doom 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 doom, and you do that, and the guitar player's like, oh, but watch this, do 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 do, and it all becomes this glorious conversation that just the four of you can speak. And you get to like witness that unto the world. I think is absolutely glorious.
Oh yeah. For sure.
And I love how your conversation has evolved from your 20s to your 30s to your 40s to truly understanding who you are, and really growing into yourself. I think that's a huge lesson that a lot of musicians need to learn. Look, we might write some of our most heartbreaking, relatable content in our 20s. But in the 40s and, the 30s and the 40s, that's where we're starting to have that life experience. And we're starting to really see, Dropkicks are coming out with a new record, I believe this August. And I can't wait for it, because I want to hear what the next evolution of the working class rock and roll truly is.
Yeah, I I think Rancid came out with an album maybe like last year, the year before that. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. And you still have bands that have been releasing music. Everclear is touring their 30-year
Just saw that. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm totally going to be there because
that's
I think
awesome.
he's one of the most prolific songwriters when it comes to just regular everyday conversation. Yes, it has a lot to do with addiction and different things like that, but it really has a lot more to do with mental health and the struggle of finding your identity while being in this type of existence that you're in. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
I will always, it'll be 30 years actually the first time I saw them.
Nice.
So
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's really cool.
it's been a hot minute. But now that you're moving forward and you're getting all of this incredible opportunities and you are starting to grow, what is it like to balance between writing, studio, being a father, live performance? Oh yeah, no, we're asking all the hard questions.
Yeah, yeah. I again, I keep always saying that I'm lucky. I got a lot of gigging under my belt when I was younger. Little Ugly got to tour. We did like 2 national tours. Like the last one was like 29 shows in 31 days.
That's awesome.
It was too much. I learned I learned a lot about myself on those journeys. I learned that I would never do it again unless someone was paying the bill.
I understand. Yeah.
So I've not done that since. Acres started right when the brewery boom happened. So like all of a sudden you didn't have to be booking bars or venues or clubs. There were 1,000 breweries throughout New England that all wanted live music, and they were making so much money that they were paying more than the venues, and you didn't have to sell tickets. So all of a sudden it was like, dude, we're going to play in front of like 100 people tomorrow and we barely have to promote it. So like Among the Acres really hit its stride with that. The beer scene loved us. So the balance. There we go. I was like, where did I go with that? So now I always tell my band, it's actually partly where the name comes from, The Hard Feelings. It's inspired by the Avett Brothers, which is one of my favorite bands. They have a song called No Hard Feelings. I definitely took music incredibly seriously when I was young and always was really pushing myself because I've been gifted with the ability to be a musician, but also very business minded, which a lot of times musicians don't have both of that.
No, not at all.
And everyone I've been in a band with has been extremely talented, but I've always been like the band mom. Like I'm the one that was booking the gigs, making sure that everyone had the spreadsheet to know where they had to be and at what time. With this project, the reason why I called it The Hard Feelings is because people who know me know like I'm super emotional and I've got lots of feelings, both hard and soft. But there's no hard feelings in this project. Like anybody that's on stage with me, if you're a sub for one gig, you're a part of this band for life. Like you are a hard feeling. And any time that I have like a committed member that can't make a gig, that's fine. Like there's no hard feelings because this band has to be so stress free because my priority is my kids. Like they are number one. I'm a dad above everything else. Music now is just the gift that I get to have at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah. Talk about word is bond, I tell you. That freeze?
I think we had a little. Okay, we'll as long as he doesn't completely fine. But
Oh no, I think I froze.
interesting. Oh no. Password. One of the incredible aspects of it, and something that I've loved, is continuing to pursue music all the time. How do you balance, the life of being a father and a musician? And when I finally realized that I didn't balance it, I just was. My kid when he came at bar, my oh, do you push your kids to be musical? Because ramen, I'm not talking about the ramen you get at Mecca. I'm talking about the ramen you have in the packet. Is not good. It's a little rough to have. So I'd much rather you be an engineer or something along those lines. but they have this beautiful gift that they are able to give and different aspects. What has it been like watching, exposing your kids to some of the newer music? Like I remember, putting on records of like Tom Waits for, my little guy who has Strider. So one of his vocal cords moves slower than the other. And he had, and he had a very graspy voice, but that became his guy because Tom Waits has a raspy voice.
Yeah, I love that so much.
So, what was it like to expose what is it like? Because you're doing it in real time. What is it like exposing your kids to the world of beautiful music?
Yeah, I remember you would think that after playing music for 27 years now, the first time I sang my daughter to sleep, I'd have a lullaby in my head. But I remember sitting there and I blanked. I was like, what do I sing to this baby? And I sang 8 Days a Week by the Beatles. And like, I'm a massive Beatles fan, but I'm singing it and I'm like, I don't know if I know the lyrics to this. So like I checked later, I definitely made up half of some of the verses and stuff.
That's awesome.
But it became like our anthem. Like now that's like our song, and she knows the words to it. She sings along. But it's so funny if I play the Beatles in the car and play 8 Days a Week, she's like, no, this ain't it. This is your song. Like, why? Who's this guy singing this? So I try to like mix them in because they still are so young that they want like the playlists like that Spotify has pre-made for all these kids. But I'll put on like a Pearl Jam lullaby song, and it's just instrumental stuff that's Pearl Jam. And then slowly I'll play the song and they'll be like, hey, I know this. And I'm like, yeah, you do. That's Godfather Eddie right there. And then I think my wife was telling me the other day they were at a grocery store and like Jason Isbell came on and my oldest was like, is this Daddy? And I was like, yeah. Yes. And Jenna was like, he wishes.
No, I've had similar experiences. I remember because I used to cover the Rihanna when I was doing the solo stuff. I covered Rihanna, Kanye West, 4 or 5, and Paul McCartney, 4 or 5 seconds. And we were walking one day downtown, and a musician was playing it on Main Street, through a PA system, and my voice was let go of my hand and started running up to the thing like, no, that's our dad's song. We're like, no, you back this way, come this way. We gotta go. Sorry, my bad. I fully understand that. And then also some of the really cool things were like as they went to bed at night, they tuned into one of the stations that plays local stuff, and they came running out of bed at like 8:15, even though they were supposed to be in bed at 8 o'clock, and they're like, Dad, you're on the radio. And I'm like, oh yeah, see, that's so cool, but I really wish you went to bed 15 minutes ago. Right.
This is my time right now, though, so I need you to get back in bed.
Yeah, exactly. And that's an awesome thing. I love talking to fathers about, being the actual musician and being the musician father is such an incredible aspect of it. Obviously the kids are going to be coming on Heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm sure that they'll be there. Yeah, that's one of the ones that they can go to. We're trying to I host a songwriter series once a month at New Park Brewing in West Hartford called Expressions. And they come out to that one sometimes, but it's a songwriters round. So there's like 4 musicians on stage at a time. We all go down singing one song, telling stories. So I have to be on stage for like the full 2 hours, and it's in we have it's like a 275 cap room connected to the brewery. So it's got space, but we put out tables and chairs, and eventually my kids are just like, nope, I'm done. And they're just like, Dad, when are you gonna be done, Dad?
Yeah.
Do you want some of my pizza? And then they start walking to the stage, and I'm like, they're just gonna jump on stage.
Yeah.
So that's not the best fit for them yet, but we're exposing them more and more. But yeah, actually, Annabelle, my oldest, she's 3.5 now. Her first concert was Heartbeat.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I have a picture of her in like the little stroller with those massive headphones.
Oh.
And Possum was on stage. It was Possum. That was her first live band.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome. See that? I love how it is such a huge, small world.
Yeah.
Because, the other day we're sitting in conversation, and someone's like, "Oh yeah, I just found this incredible band on TikTok, Possum." I'm like, "Oh, that's the homies."
Yeah.
Would you like to talk to one? Would you like to talk to one of them right now?
Right.
Hold on, let me get to the DMs right real quick, and they're like, "Oh no, this is fine. This is fantastic." But you have all of this connection, and there's something that's really big for the Heartbeat Festival is this.
Yeah.
The idea of community, and it's community that has served you well as you've grown into the musician that you are today. And I love that aspect. You say you've been lucky. You've just happened to, one, be good at what you do, and two, be around a community that is super supportive, and that is a blessing. As you do evolve, what is the next chapter for you? Is there going to be like a rock opera
on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven?
So smooth.
That was really good. That would be amazing. My wife would be all about that. We actually,
I'll watch it.
We go to, we have tickets today to Hartford Stage, but we also go to the Bushnell, and we go to Broadway as often as we can. We're obsessed with musicals in this house.
Awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah. I cannot wait for my kids to get into that stuff. But first is the debut album for the Hard Feelings. I've been kind of like stalling on that. My goal is to get 10 tunes, get them to the band, and then get in the studio. I've been at like 9.5 songs all winter. I thought that I would write during the winter, but then I forgot that I hate the winter. So
Yes.
I've been so uninspired.
Same here. Yes.
They warmed up a little bit, and all of a sudden I wrote a song the other day, and I was like, oh, right.
Yeah.
It's not me, it's winter.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm going to finish up the 10 tunes and then get these guys in the studio for our debut record. That's definitely what's next.
Now it's so interesting that you are focused on the full aspect of the album and different things like that, because we are now in a stage of the industry where I'm just gonna I'll have an album out, but I'm just gonna release it in 12 singles every 3 months to make sure that I'm maximizing the potential of each single, in which it gets the streaming potential as possible. Right. What makes you want to release a record instead of just dropping a single after single?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Part of it is I'm lucky to be in 2 projects that I really love. Riley Cotton and the Tin Men, I got to co-produce her last album, and I'm really passionate about her music. She's a phenomenal songwriter, and I really feel at home when I'm playing guitar. So being the guitarist in that band just fits like a glove. Being the frontman of a project is something that I kind of fell into. With Little Ugly, it was actually supposed to be a project for me and my brother. He was supposed to be the singer, but he had his first daughter, and she was born with a lot of health issues. So he was like, I don't have time to start a band right now. So all of a sudden I was singing in a band. Acres had 2 singers. So I'd sing my song and then I could step back and just, okay, that part's over. I'm done. With this one, I love singing, but I've never viewed myself as like a singer, like a strong singer anyway. I've always viewed myself as more like just a much better guitar player. But I'm really comfortable with where I'm at musically in my life. So I don't feel the need to push this project insanely hard and get it in front of as many ears as possible. I feel like it's a really good snapshot of this moment in my life. And I've had a lot of stuff happen over the last couple of years. I had my own health struggles over the last 2 years. I ended up having to have 4 pretty major operations to recreate my digestive system. And I'm on the other side of that now, and I'm doing much better. I feel great. I'm able to eat and play with my kids and work out again. But for about a year, I was really, really struggling. So the songs are about that. They're about becoming a father. And then this past November, I lost my mother. So they also have that as well. So I really wanted to just get these 10 songs, this snapshot of this moment in my life, onto a record, get it out there. Again, it's like therapy, get this out there. And then the next 10 songs will be about getting over all of this,
Right.
the next snapshot. But yeah, singles and stuff like that. I feel like Riley Cotton and the Tin Men, like that band needs that kind of stuff because
Right.
she's 26. Like this is her time, like she's so talented, and like I want to be able to help her with that kind of stuff. Whereas my stuff, I'm not as concerned about that. Like I just want to get it out. I want to be able to hear it. I want my kids to be able to hear it,
Right. Well, it's one of the key things when you get into the fact where you're making art just to make art. You're not making art for the fiscal responsibility of it all, and when you really have to think about all of that kind of stuff. I mean, we're about to drop our record, but we had to make sure that we have 3 visuals, and within those visuals are going to drop in that 3-month interval, so that each song can have the proper amount of time to go through, and but we're dropping a full length, and we're going to be raising the money to make sure that it can come out on vinyl and all that kind of stuff, and you start to almost lose. Like I've loved and hated this record so many times.
Yeah.
Between the recording of it and the writing of it, and now the promotion of it, I'm almost sick of it. You know what I mean? Let's just get this done.
No, absolutely.
But then the moment it lands on iTunes or Apple Music or whatever you want to call it, the moment it lands there and you get to spin it for the first time, and we get to see that rolling number, the rolling ticket thing,
right.
The first couple of days of the first release, that's when you start to fall in love with the project again, and it's such an amazing emotional roller coaster. And I love that you have that with one project, but you don't. But now you have this stress-free aspect, and not that it's stress-free because it's still writing the songs, getting the recording aspect of it, making sure someone's playing to the metronome. Like there's a lot to go in there, but it's also I'm putting this out there because this is who I am, and this is what I have to say for right now. I think that's absolutely beautiful, and I love that for you. So,
and I'm sure my bandmates are gonna kick me in the butt and make me do more than I want to do behind the record, but
of course,
that's what they're there for.
Hence why you're here on the show today.
Exactly. And I love it. I like you said, once it's out there, all of a sudden it's just like it's another source of inspiration to like want to push it. Because like I haven't been booking many gigs. Part of, again, like winter. Like I play a lot of solo stuff in the winter, but no interest in getting all my guitars packed into a car, play a show, and have to like pack it back up in the middle of when there's like snow on the ground and stuff. That's just I'm too old for that now. But yeah, this summer's starting to come around, and the gig offers are coming in. And at first I was like, I'm going to be really picky about what gigs I take with this project. So for every offer that's come in, I'm like, yeah, no, we'll do that. That sounds great. Yeah. I forgot. I need to get back on stage.
And that's really one of the most incredible things of it is really our love for the stage. And it seems like you have a love for not only being on the stage, but also seeing the different aspects of the stage as well as per the musicals. And I'm sure you go out to a lot of different shows or concerts. Are you a huge concert goer?
I used to be. That definitely slowed down with the babies.
Of course.
But I actually am the talent buyer over at New Park Brewing.
Oh, wow.
So I do a lot of just like putting on shows, and then the times I can make it out there, I'm the showrunner. But yeah, and Riley actually, ever since I met her, like she's so talented, and has a clear vision for what she like sees like Hartford music could be. So I brought her on to help me run New Park's music. So when I'm not the showrunner, she's there. Like last night we had a band, and she was on the ground running the show, so I could go to like a family game night,
But no, those are so super important because this is again what we were talking about being that balance aspect, or like I like to say, just living in that type of aspect. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I did just go to Back Porch Fest in Northampton, Mass, a weekend long festival. Awesome. It was so much fun. Like, and Northampton is such a unique spot for us in New England. there were 8 venues, all within walking distance, all with an incredible setup. There was 40 bands on Saturday, I think 20 bands on Friday and Sunday each, and a lot of the bands are people I've like either booked or I've played shows with. So it was just so much fun.
Well, the vibe had to be surreal.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. I like.
Right.
It was also like another thing where I just was sitting there. I'm like, man, I got to finish my album. What am I doing? Like,
Yeah, no, that was always one of those things that we sat there and we're like, we'd watch we'd be in the studio, doing the regular gigging and different stuff like that, and not really having the selection to go and play out some of the bigger shows and different stuff like that, and didn't have the record to push or anything like that. So, we'd watch opportunities like Heartbeat Fest go by and be like, oh, one of these days we're going to catch that. One of these days we're going to, be on that type of aspect of it, or we'd watch the Shoreline Festival, go pass by, or we watch, even playing like a food truck festival with, all those different things. Like, this would be so cool if, and now when you get into that season of yes, because you have that project out there, we're looking to take on the world in so much more interesting type of ways.
Yeah, for sure.
What was your best lesson in your musical career?
Oh man, I've had too many.
Most memorable you can say on there. Most memorable.
Probably what I was saying before about how I approach this band now, which is no hard feelings. Like Little Ugly was a 4-piece band that had 9 members. Like I remember I clung to that project for so long, and I was in my 20s. I probably was not easy to work with. I think I remember having like a rule where like you couldn't be in another band.
Oh.
Yeah, like like Little Ugly, because I was like, we're gonna take over the world. You want to be part of this team. You're not on another team, and like I look back at that with so much regret because I just limited other musicians' growth. Like that's not okay.
Exactly.
And I think I like a piece of that stayed with me even in Among the Acres, where I like was because I was so committed and I wanted everybody to be committed, and like the best lesson I learned from that was that when you play music with people, it's not just the gift of music you're giving people, it's the gift of your time. Because time is so valuable. So like you can't ever dictate how other people choose to spend their time. So I think that's the best lesson I ever learned as a band leader and as a musician, is just to appreciate the time that I have with the people that are in my life.
About to get emotional, Easy.
I know, seriously.
I'm about to cry.
Talking about it and stuff like that. And the whole time, my youngest is texting me, asking me if he can go down to the parade. I'm like, no. Not your mind.
Now let's talk about the kids. Do you want them to be musicians? Because some, you know what I'm saying? Like some kid parents want it, some don't. Right? It's a 50-50 thing.
Yeah, I would say like no matter what, music's going to be a part of their lives. Like I could already see it now. Like they both are already singing along to every single song in the backseat of the car because me and their mom are belting them out like all the time. My wife and I met at music school, so we're both musicians.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so music is just a part of this household. And I know like I'm going to do the same thing my parents did for me. I'm not going to teach them music, but I'm going to get them music teachers. They're going to take piano lessons.
Right.
If they're not passionate about it, that's okay. So I think I'm very excited for them to be able to experience music and learn what it's like to play an instrument. But to be a full-time musician, I hope that they choose a different path.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I hope they find something that finds them just as much joy as music's brought me, but maybe makes them a little more secure in life.
It's like it's one of those things when you see those really super expensive guitars that are just bought for the lawyers. The lawyers that can afford it, and they're not. No real musician plays a $50,000 guitar, but there's a whole bunch of lawyers who play the heck out of it, and then they're living
yeah.
up their dream and they're living it incredible.
Yep.
And I'm sure it sounds amazing. You know, and that's what I hope for my kids. I hope that they can play the $50,000 guitar,
Right.
and you know, love music in that type of way. And so it's not the evil dark mistress that it has been for me.
Right. Oh man, I forgot what I was about to say. My goodness, I'm so caught up. It's crazy right now.
No,
I'm in another world. I'm just vibing out to the vibes right here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Easy.
No. Well, I was going to say, now as you are stepping up this time and bringing the new project to the Heartbeat Festival, is there anything you've taken from the other two projects other than the No Hard Feelings or aspects of it? Talking about from the performance aspect, you know, do you now know that you can only walk on stage from the left-hand side? Or, you know, look, all of those superstitions are real.
Right. I think like I've been able to take so much because not only was I performing from a young age till now, but I was also teaching. When I dropped out of music school, I got a job at Starbucks, and next door was a music shop, and I used to go in during my breaks and play guitar. And the manager there changed my life because one day he came up to me and he's like, "Hey man, I got you 5 students on a Saturday. Why are you working at a coffee shop? Like, you should be teaching so that way you can just make money off of music, playing guitar and gigging." And I was like, okay. And then those 5 students became 50 students a week. And it became my business. Like, now I teach privately, and I've been doing it. That's my only job. I've been doing that since I was 18. Now I'm 40. So I was blessed to meet that man who changed my life and started me on this path. And what I learned as a teacher and a performer was to know my strengths and embrace my weaknesses. And every time I realize one of them, I carry them with me to each project. And I feel like it's just made me confident. So like every time I take a stage, even though the nerves are there, I'm so thankful the nerves are there because I think they make me perform better. But I do know what I look like to the audience because I've seen so much footage of me and I've heard live records and all that stuff. And I've been doing it for so long that I know I'm coming across as fun and confident. Right. And it's cool. It's almost like a persona or a character I get to play because, you know, it is me, but it's the strengths that I'm trying to bring to that and make it a positive experience to the people in the audience. Because even though I'm playing my really sad, dark stuff, that's the stuff I write at home. That's the sad emo guy that I get to be here for my wife and kids. But once I'm on stage, I'm like, yes, this song is incredibly sad and depressing, but I'm gonna headbang while I play it, and we're all gonna dance. How's that sound?
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the most incredible things is it's a Tom Waits quote. You know, I want beautiful melodies to tell me terrible things. Yeah. You know, and that's something that I live by, and something that we live by in SP. You know, we have this song called Boogie, where, you know, literally the opening line is "as the blood drips down my ears." Yeah. But everyone's dancing and jiving. Right. You know.
Absolutely.
So, you know, that's one of the key things is when you can play with that type of aspect. And I love the psychological aspect of it. I remember going to see Real Big Fish and them talking about, you know, as they've evolved as a band, they've realized how much power they have, and they can get the audience to, you know, scream along to everything. And he goes, "Watch this, 1, 2, 3, hippopotamus," and everyone's chanting hippopotamus, you know, and it's an incredible aspect to have. Now, when you are standing up there and you are yourself on 11, as we like to say, you know, what is that moment like? Stepping up there for the first time, that microphone, that cold sweat, you know, everything slows down. You hear the heartbeat, as we'd like to say, you know, kind of pulse through. You know, what is it like to put out that first word or to strum that first chord?
And do you get to 20 sometimes? Does it go from 11 to 20?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of time lately it's been solo, and that has been me kind of rediscovering why I decided to step on the stage under my own name. because I've been lucky to play a lot of like songwriters rounds and everything. And so you have the opportunity to really dive into the story behind the song. And that has been incredible because I've gone back and played some older songs and realized, like, I have a song called Dreamcatcher that was the title track off of Among the Acres' second record. And I wrote that one about my wife and I struggled to start a family. She unfortunately had to go through some procedures in order for us to have babies. And with the help of doctors, we've been, blessed with two beautiful girls. That's awesome. But getting there, watching my wife struggle like that, there was nothing I could do to help her other than to write a song about it. And now when I tell that story, though, because we talked about it, like after I wrote that, she's like, you need to tell people what this song's about because other people are going through this and people don't talk about it enough. The last line of that song was, because we lost two, we had two miscarriages. The last line of the song was, "You were always just a dream," and I've changed that line now. Every time I sing it, it's "You mean everything to me," because like I couldn't live in that sadness anymore. The song had evolved, my family had evolved, our story had evolved, and I found that like trying to go back and recreate that moment felt fake because I was in such a better place. So I was like, what, the song has to change. Like the meaning behind it's exactly the same, but the feeling when I look back and everything we've experienced has changed. So those moments, stepping out into that stage, I'm discovering those tiny things in real time when I'm out there by myself. I'll be telling a story about a song I wrote, and then I'll be playing it, and I'm like, I don't think this song means that to me anymore. I'm going to tell them when I'm done. I'll wait till I'm done, and then I'll tell them. And then taking the stage with the band, that's just like a shot of adrenaline because it happens so rarely that all of a sudden I'm up there with my brothers and my sister, and I'm just like you said, does it go up to 20? I have a guitar over there that I put a hole in. I cracked the headstock off it. We're an acoustic rock band. Like there's no need for me to be doing that, but I can't help it. Like once I'm up there, I have to beat up my instrument.
It's that therapy. It's that extra part of that therapy. Is it is music in its purest form is so primal that when you can tap into that, it's a glorious thing and sometimes terrifying. I mean, how many times you watch a video of Jimi Hendrix lighting his guitar on fire and almost bowing and worshiping the guitar, where it looks like a terrifying moment, but it's so freeing. And it's so alive and it's so real. And the audience can feel that and vibe that. And that's one of the key things about that. I love that you're doing the songwriting workshops and different things like that, and continuing to evolve and give back to the community. Hey, you're a talent booker.
WNHH Community Radio on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Continue Easy Blues as I mumble my words.
No worries. That was dope. What has inspired you to be giving back? Because there's a lot of people that would be in your situation and be, as we'll say, lucky or as talented, to have it work out in that type of situation, that never give back. They're just trying to continue to move forward. But you've made a very grounded aspect to say, I am New England. New England is me. So what made that choice for you?
I was inspired by I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but the Chip McCabe's and the Frank Critellis of the Connecticut music scene.
Love Frank.
Yeah, those two in particular gave me opportunities, and the Mike Wilcoxes, who sadly passed away, I believe 5 years ago. They gave me opportunities that I never deserved. They saw something in me that I did not see in myself when I was in my 20s. They gave me second chances, third chances, fourth chances. And they still are, giving me shows and performance opportunities that a lot of times I'm a little scared that I'm aging out of. Like, I'm like, oh, no one wants to hear my songs anymore. People have been listening to me for 20 years. Like, it's time for the young blood. And the way that I think I see my life going is I know I'm Connecticut for life. I'm New England for life. This is my scene. These are my people. This is where I want my family to be. I know music has to stay a part of my life forever. I don't know if the stage will necessarily be a part of it. I hope so. But if it's not, it's got to be me helping people the way that I was helped. And I'm so lucky that I've gotten the opportunity to start doing that. I've only scratched the surface, it feels like. But yeah, Expressions we're in our 3rd year for that songwriter series, and we've had over 90 performers take the stage.
Nice.
That is glorious. That is absolutely amazing. And thank you for all of that. Unfortunately, we are coming down to the close, and we're only going to have about a few more minutes left in the show. But we want to give this time right now to you to tell the people how they can get invested with you, the new projects coming up, the shows that you have lined up in different things. Obviously, the Heartbeat Festival, which is coming up in June. All this incredible stuff that you have going on. And if you'd like, your social media tags in there so that people can get in contact with you and invest in you moving forward.
Cool. Yeah. I can be found on Instagram. I have my own account. That's just Michael Sanford Day. Then I have MSD in the Hard Feelings. You can also check out Riley Cotton. Those 3 will be where you'll see like my performances. There's also New Park Presents. That's the where I post all the shows for New Park, and that'll be where you can find like the songwriter series and everything like that. But yeah, Riley and my page and the MSD and the Hard Feelings, that'll be where you can see all the upcoming shows that I probably should know the dates to, that I don't. I think the next Expressions is April 27th. It's Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. at New Park in West Hartford. Yeah, that'll be the big stuff. Those Instagram accounts, MSD and the Hard Feelings, Riley Cotton, Michael Sanford Day.
Now, do you have any advice for that person that is starting out right now, just to give them a little bit of positive as we wrap up?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Write the song. Finish the song. Finish it. Give yourself grace. Don't judge yourself. Write it and get it out in front of people.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. Michael, thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate this conversation. Hope to have you on again when you have some time, because I know you have a busy schedule. On
Absolutely.
WNHH. Oh, my bad.
You're welcome. Anytime. Thank you.
My bad. I'm sorry. It's force of habit, not intentional. Like this is on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, Mr. EZ Blues. Appreciate everyone. Thank you so much.
I've been sick since we first met. It's like you were taken from my arms, and I've been fighting ever since, a shift in shape where lines were drawn to get you back where you belong. I tried to stand for something, but I just fell for everything. I tell you what, let's make a deal. This time you can steer, go on and take the wheel. I'll set aside all my pride, learn the strength it takes this time to truly heal. I'll even work on loving myself, but only if you promise not to go off and love somebody else. Said I'll even work on loving myself, but only if you promise not to go off and love somebody else. You smiled through the fall, a light when all was lost tried to search for reason, I found you standing next to me. I tell you what, let's make a deal. This time you can steer, go on and take the wheel. I set aside all my pride, learn the strength it takes this time to truly heal. I tell you what, let's make a deal. This time you can steer, go on and take the wheel. Set aside all my pride, learn the strength it takes this time to truly heal. I'll even work on loving myself, but only if you promise not to go off and love somebody else. Said I'll even work on loving myself, but only if you promise not to go off and love somebody else.
As for you, CC.
Thank you so much.